Hey everybody, Professor Steins here, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about file systems. So in class and in website development, a lot of people kind of struggle trying to link pages and files together. So this video I'm going to try to talk a little bit about that. So what I got here is Ubuntu Desktop, and it's a Linux operating system, and it's pretty neat. If you've never used it before, it's definitely worth giving it a shot at one point. If you're new to the program, we'll have classes on virtual machines and how to configure them and do all kinds of stuff later on. There's no reason why you can't kind of explore with it on your own. Linux is a very popular operating system. It comes in many different flavors. And a good way to maybe get started with it for most people is to maybe get VirtualBox, which is by Oracle. And it's kind of a virtual machine. It's a way to kind of manage virtual machines. So for most people, they might want to start with Windows hosts and download it and install it. And then you'll get to a point where you'll want to come back to Ubuntu and download maybe their desktop ISO. One of the drawbacks about VirtualBox, I think, is it's limited to 32-bit operating systems. So when you do come out here and you're trying to download it, you might have to go through the alternative links and try to get the ISO for the 32-bit system. LTS here, if you're kind of knowing the difference, this one will be the newest and greatest flavor. But LTS stands for long-term support. So that means that this version of Ubuntu will be supported for quite a while. And you could read all about the release notes and the schedule and all that kind of stuff. It's free to have and free to use. It doesn't cost any money. Again, even Ubuntu comes in many flavors, such as a server version, which is basically just command line interface, which is all you really need for a server. Anyway, we're not really here to talk about Ubuntu and Oracle. What I just really want to talk about is how file systems work. So this is kind of what I got here, and if it's unfamiliar to you, that's okay. But I'm just going to right-click out here on the desktop and open up a terminal window, which is a lot how most computers work. So most computers kind of work from a command line interface like this, and this is mine. What's shown here is that Spiel is the person I'm logged in as, and Spiel VM is the name of this virtual machine. If I do a pwd here, it's going to show that I am in the home directory on the Linux file system in a folder called Spiel. Now if you're kind of wondering what does this all mean, Ubuntu also has a graphical user interface like this, just like Windows has, to kind of show how the file system works. If we go down and look at computer, this would be the equivalent of the C drive in Windows. And in C drive, you would have a lot of different folders inside of it too. Maybe like a programs files folder, a users folder. Ubuntu is going to be different, and it's got a different layout, but the way file systems work is it's kind of a hierarchical structure of files and folders. So if I'm on computer, that's the equivalent of being on the root slash, this first slash that's in the path here. If I go and kind of follow this path from the home, I'm on C, I'm going to go to the home folder. There's my Spiel folder, and then there's some stuff that's actually inside of that. In the command window here, we can actually see those things by typing in ls for a listing service. So this is actually going to reflect what's in the window back here. There's also a folder called desktop, there's a folder called downloads, pictures. There's a couple folders that aren't actually being shown here, like the public folder. Oh no, public folder's there. I was thinking there was one where it's not shown. Well, examples.desktop doesn't seem to be showing in there. So you can have hidden files in there, just like in a Windows system. You might have some hidden files. ls-l is a different way of kind of looking at the same thing. Gives it a little bit more structured breakout, and even shows who owns these folders. So right now it is kind of showing that I own just about everything. And we can travel around this file system. So this path, the home, this one, would have been the root of my computer. and that's going to be kind of this file. So if we change directory to just the slash, like that, and the prompt here isn't going to show much of a difference since this is a tilde character. But if we do an ls here, we're going to see a lot of those folders that show up in the top right. If we do an ls-l, we'll see those too. And see how these are owned by the root account, not necessarily the Spiel account in which stuff in the user folder is owning. That kind of becomes important in Linux and even in Windows too, as that there's different system accounts that own different files, which is why it can be sometimes difficult to go down and delete files in the System32 folder of Windows or something like that, as that is owned by a more kind of root account. So I'm going to cd here back to the tilde character to get back to my home root and pwd to kind of show where that's at, /home/spiel. And I'm going to change directory to the desktop. So I can kind of see that's becoming part of the file path over here on the left too. The little tilde key means the home root folder / and then desktop. And to kind of show how that's going to work, let's do a make directory for a file, and we'll just call it file systems right now. So that's going to create a folder up on my desktop. See, file systems. And there's going to be nothing inside of it. And we can see it from there too. So let's see, we're on the desktop. Let's try to echo out some text here. We're just going to say hello world, and we're going to echo that to a text file called hello.txt. And that's going to make it show up in all locations too. We're going to do a cat to pull that back out, hello.txt. That way we can see what it is, and it's just hello world in the file. We could do something crazy by using maybe like V, which is a text editor, to open up this file and make some changes to it. But that's okay. We can really do a lot from terminal in Linux. So let's see. We do an ls here. We see there's a folder there, file systems, and the file hello text. We can change directory to file systems and do an ls and show the files that are inside of it, and there's nothing there. Let's do kind of something similar here in file system folder. And we're going to echo that into a hello.txt. Kind of try to keep the same file name everywhere. And do an ls. There's our hello.txt. Let's do a cat to read it real quick, hello.txt. And it should say in file system folder, so that's good. We're going to change directory, and we're going to use 2 dots here. Change directory, 2 dots to go up a folder level, and go back to ls. So there's our hello text. So what happens if we try to call hello text here? We're going to get this one file, not the one that's in the folder. But we could also do cat file systems / hello.txt. And from where we are on the desktop, this path is the way that we would get to that file. So if we do this right, then we should get any file system folder here. So that's pretty cool. We can try to concatenate those both together. So hello.txt and file systems / hello.txt should retrieve kind of both of those files, or at least what's inside of it. And if I cd back up one more, from the desktop folder to the root folder of my website, or of my machine rather, not website, but /home/spiel. If we try to run that same file, hit up here a few times to cat these 2 files together, it's going to tell us that, well, we can't find those files. Because from where we are, ls, the listing service, those files are not, those paths are not correct between those 2 files. So what we might need to do is either change directory back, or we could even just add it to the path here, /desktop / hello.txt, and combine that with desktop / file systems / hello.txt. And that should get us back to where we were before. So the way these work in web files, and it's kind of weird that I'm trying to explain how to link together web pages in a website by using a Linux file system like this. But this is really kind of how the pass between two different files work. So if you have an index.html file in a place, and it needs to link to an image file that's in another folder, you'll have to do some kind of stuff like this to include the file system pass, from where you are on the computer. Now, in an HTML file, that's typically the actual HTML file. So if this was our, assumingly file systems would be like the images folder, and this hello text would be like a JPEG and not just a text file. Anyway, I kind of hope that explains a little bit about how file systems work. Some other neat things we can do here in Linux is, again, we're here at desktops. Maybe we want to find from our our home folder, the tilde character, files that have the name hello.txt. What we'll get is a couple different directories here that show that. Now, these two are the ones that we were looking at. And these three are actually going to be temp files that that we can't really see. I mean, they exist, but they're just kind of like some temp files where we can read from the computer. If we were to try to type all that out, /home /spiel /.local /share /trash /files. Actually, I think what you're going to find here is the hello.txt, because what this actually, I said it was a temp file, but actually what it is it's the trash file from where I was testing around how I wanted to record the video before I actually did it. So this trash file actually does kind of exist in your home folder in kind of a hidden folder. And I don't think we'll actually see this local file if we went and looked at the home folder here where the other things are. See, desktop should be in the same location, but it is not here. We can right click, and this is a new terminal window, or just make sure we're at the right place. We are still at the right place. If we do an ls here, see how we don't actually see that local folder, but we could actually cd2.local and do an ls. There's our share folder. We'll change to share and do an ls. So there's a couple other things that are in there. There's the trash folder. There's some other things, but we could look into the cd to the trash folder. ls. There's files and info. So cd to files. Do an ls. And those are all the things that are stored kind of in the recycling bin at the moment. Something I was kind of just playing with at one time, and some testing stuff I did to get kind of prepared for the video here. And if we delete these, like permanently delete them from the computer, or empty, I guess we have to do it this way, so that they all go super bye-bye. Let's do ls again, and they're no longer there. Let's cd back to the tilde character to get back to our home root, and run our find command again. I'm going to go up and hit find for hello.txt, and we should only get the two files that we're kind of messing with in this video. It's pretty neat. If you haven't learned Linux, it's a lot like, for the most part, it's a lot like a normal little Windows system. Firefox web browser, it's even got kind of a Word document editor in it. Again, it's free, it doesn't cost any money. It's kind of similar to a Mac. Mac is actually based on kind of a Linux derivative as well. So this is going to be just kind of like a plain text editor, just like Microsoft Word. And it comes default with Ubuntu. There's some other stuff that comes default with it too. I just don't have quite all of it here. This is kind of a launcher, again, kind of similar to a Mac. where you can look up different applications that are installed on the computer. The Software Center here is a way to, it's kind of like a Google Play or Firefox extensions or something like that. So it's got some tools in it. Again, kind of similar to a Mac, maybe iOS, where you could go in and try to find some tools. Not everything you can install things outside of here for sure, but a lot of the stuff that you can just kind of click and install from the Software Studio is pretty neat, like the Workbench or some other stuff. And then you can always download stuff, install it yourself. Terminal is also really good for that. I haven't ran it in a long time, but I probably should run sudo update or sudo app get update and sudo app get upgrade -y and put in my password. And what this is going to do is it's going to upgrade my system for me. So this would be like running Windows updates on a Windows machine. So instead of having to go through all the menus and stuff and click on things, I can really just kind of do it straight from the terminal window like that. And you'll find that power users in Linux would much rather work from command line doing stuff like this as opposed to using a GUI interface. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a little bit about how file systems work. Maybe gave you some ideas to play around with Ubuntu and see what you can make happen. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Bye.